All right, so I already have the sample that I know I want to work with, and we're gonna have to time stretch this to the grid in FL Studio. And the way that I like to do this is I like setting the FL Studio BPM to the same BPM as the original sample, which is 135. So now that we have this at 135, we can just drag this in and it should line up perfectly to the grid. So all we need to do now is just double click the sample, set it to E2 generic, and then stretch it out back to its original timing. So let's go ahead and set it to 150. This is pretty much the range that I want to work in. And let's take a listen to what this sample sounds like. So it's a pretty dope sample, but right now it's a little too fast for me. So we're gonna want to stretch this out even more. So this is more of the timing that I want to work at, but as you can see, it sounds really stretched out because we didn't change the pitch at all. So now we're just going to adjust the pitch, bring it down, and find something to work with. We just need to EQ this to make it sound a little bit better. So what we're going to do is open up an EQ, take out some of the low end. Now, one thing that I really enjoy doing is I like using this plugin called LFO Tool. And LFO Tool is basically an envelope that you can use to modulate the volume, the filter, or even the panning. But what I like to use it for is I like to create a relatively flat kind of curve and then just create a slight dip at the end. And you'll see this will create more of like a stutter. Now, instead of working at a rate of 1/4, we're going to bring this up to 1/16. You can kind of think of this as like a gate, and I know Grossbeat does something similar, but here you have a little more control over the shape of the envelope. And this just adds a little bit more texture to the melody, makes it sound a little more unique. Lastly, we'll add a little bit of reverb. So I'm liking the way that this sample sounds, but I'm definitely going to want to stack a vocal sample on top of this. I personally love working with vocal samples. I think it adds a totally different vibe to whatever beat that you're working on. So let's take a listen to what this sample sounds like. So it's definitely going to need some work, but I think that we can make this fit into the project nicely. Now, it's definitely not in the same key as our top melody, so we're gonna definitely have to pitch this up. I think we're gonna just have to chop the sample up because this first part of it is not really fitting in too well. So I'm gonna turn off the grid completely, and then we'll just find something that we can use. Okay, we definitely want this half right here. And then this second bit fits really nicely, so we're definitely going to want to keep that. Now I'm going to automate the volume of this because I don't like how long it drags on. Right about there is perfect. Okay, so I like this vibe so far, but the sample definitely needs to be mixed in, and we're just gonna absolutely drench it in reverb. Right about there should be perfect. So I think now, I don't wanna mess with it anymore. I'm just gonna render it out to a WAV file. I think now that we have these two melodies going on, we can go ahead and move on to the drums. Now for the drums, I'm gonna go ahead and go into my personal drum kit. And if you need any of these drum sounds, you can find them at my website at paulkits.com. But let's go ahead and get a basic hi-hat pattern going on. Okay, this is dope. Let's go ahead and add a snare. Okay, this is coming out pretty dope so far. I think all we need now is to throw down an 808 pattern. Okay, so I think the drums are pretty much done. Let's take a listen to what this sounds like with the vocal sample. Dope. So I think this is coming along together really nicely. Here's where we're gonna add a counter melody. And for this counter melody, I think we're just gonna go straight into Arcade. Arcade is great for getting basic melody ideas down. So we're gonna go ahead and set our key, and then I like using poolside. So that fits pretty much perfectly, so I'm just gonna render it out right off the bat. So we'll drag this back up, send this over to channel 8. Okay, let's mix in this melody a little bit. And then for guitar samples like this, I like opening Guitar Rig and then just applying another preset to it. So honestly, I think that pretty much finishes up the melodies for this beat. So all we need to do now is just very quickly arrange it. Now, I will mix this after this video and play the final beat at the end of this video, but for now, let's just get a basic arrangement going. And then that's pretty much gonna drop into and while we're at it, we'll go ahead and add in some breaks. So honestly, I think that pretty much finishes up the beat. I'm really happy with the way that this came out. But honestly, guys, I think that's pretty much gonna wrap up this beat. So if you guys enjoyed this video, or if you guys did like this beat, please feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. As always, if you need any of these drum sounds used, you can find them in my personal drum kit at paulkits.com. Other than that, guys, that's pretty much gonna be it for me today. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon.